Gods and goddesses gather round. Welcome to Mythology and Makeup. I'm Vanessa, and I'm thrilled to share my passion of Greek mythology with you while I get ready for the day. Let's uncover the fascinating stories of mythology together, from Athena's wisdom to the captivating stories of the Muses and everything in between. So grab your brushes and a mirror, and let's unleash the magic and beauty within. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. Last week, I left off with Cerberus, and this week I want to get into some of the heroes and mortals. Both of them play an important role in how the Greeks understood the natural world around them. While not every story is true, many of the stories featuring mortals are examples of different ways in which the gods involved themselves with the humans. Many of the stories are of women who are ruined by Zeus, even though they loved and worshipped him. They also recognized that he and the other gods could do horrible things to them, and this was their way of understanding how humanity could also do the same. There are many stories of humans who thought they were as capable of gods, and these never really ended well for the humans, as we know. There are the stories of the heroes who are mostly men who set out to complete quests, save cities, and even kill monsters. They were also vital in the ancient Greek world. They were often associated with particular cities, and those cities worshipped them as though they were gods. Then there are the men of the Trojan War, who are written in Homer's Iliad and the Odyssey, the two epic poems, which are novel-length writings. I remember reading the Odyssey in high school, and that's what really made me start loving Greek mythology. I've read a portion of the Iliad. I had to get a different version because the words were I kept having to look up every word. The works in Homer's books could have been completed by many poets because we don't actually know whether Homer existed or not. But they were compiled of poems over decades, but we do know that these works are a way for us to see into the ancient world, whether they are myths or not. So let's get started. I'm going to start with Semele. Semele was a princess of Thebes, the daughter of Cadmus and Harmonia. She was the first of the couple's descendants to suffer a tragic fate brought on by a curse placed upon the family, which I'll get into that when I talk about Cadmus's story. Semele was the only mortal woman to conceive a god, and certainly the only mortal woman who gave birth to a god as powerful as her son. Upon having sex with Zeus, and that god's name is Dionysus. And gotta say, if you haven't watched my video about Dionysus, he's a pretty interesting god. The god of wine. Basically the god of partying. Party. Semele actually loved Zeus, and he seemed to love her too, but in his own way. He was caring and promised her whatever she wanted. They would spend lots of time together before she even had gotten pregnant. They spent a number of nights together, so they were able to get to know each other. She was aware that it was Zeus, even though she didn't see him in his true form, because mortals can't see gods in their true form, or they'll die. Or driven into madness. It didn't really occur to Semele to question Zeus on his form until an old lady came up to her and she arrived as a nurse. She spoke to Semele about the pregnancy and the father. Semele told her that it was the god Zeus himself who was the father of the child. And the old woman smiled, telling her that she really hoped that it was Zeus, because she had heard that so many men were sweet-talking women, saying along the lines of, "Hey baby, I'm a god. You want to have sex with me?" when they really weren't a god. This concerned Semele because she really hadn't considered this to be possible. It started to seem too good to be true that she was pregnant with Zeus's child. She and the old woman continued to talk, and eventually the woman convinced Semele to ask Zeus to show himself to her the same way he appeared to his own wife. Turns out the old woman was Hera. So, Hera was just trying to punish the woman, as she does. So, the next time Zeus and Semele were together, she did exactly what the old woman said. Zeus tried to convince her against her asking him to change into his true form. Like, just believe me, baby. I promise I'm Zeus. Just believe me. I don't need to show you my true form. I promise you, I'm not lying. But since Zeus promised her anything, promised her whatever she wanted and did whatever she said, he had to do what she said. So she assured him that she wouldn't freak out. She assured him she'd be perfectly fine. So, upon her wish, Zeus transformed into his full self, his true form. Thunder and lightning rained around them, and in an instant, Semele was hit with a bolt of lightning and died immediately. Zeus knew this was going to happen, so he was prepared to take the baby from her body. He sewed the baby into his thighs so the infant can continue to live. Eventually, Dionysus was born from Zeus's thigh. Dionysus would take his place among the Olympians as the only Olympian god with a mortal parent. Hey, at least he didn't let the baby die, But I guess Hera got her was happy about that one, just got her revenge. Didn't stop Zeus from doing anything else. And the next one I'm about to get into, Zeus does something even more terrible to a woman because he's infatuated with her. So next is Io. Io is the princess of Argos. She was a priestess at the temple of Hera. In time, she became identified with Isis, the Egyptian goddess. And this is why I love mythology, because of how different cultures used other religions as ideas of their own. In current traditions, she is also associated with the moon. Io's story starts just like any other woman's story in Greek mythology. Zeus saw her, and we all know what it's about to happen. Since she was a priestess at Hera's temple, she spent a lot of her time there. And this is how Zeus saw her. And just like any other story, he fell in love. But, he was just really forcing himself upon her. The encounter took place in Argos, sacred to Hera, which added even more insult to her. And since the city was sacred to her, she easily found out about what had happened. Zeus, realizing he was about to get caught, decided to transform Io into a cow in the effort to keep the truth hidden a little bit longer from Hera. So Zeus is just over here hanging out with the cow, right? But Hera was so familiar with her husband's shenanigans that she quickly uncovered why he was spending so much of his time with a cow. You know, just like, hey babe, I'm gonna go over here, hang out with this cow. So she decided that she was gonna ask Zeus for a gift. She wanted this cow that he was spending so much of his time with, knowing that he would reveal his little secret if he refused. So Zeus gave Hera the cow, which is still Io, okay? Like the cow is still a human. Just, in cow form. Now, what I want to know is, was Zeus transforming himself into a cow, to, have sex with her while she was in the form of a cow? Or was he like transforming her back into a human? Like, what was he doing? Like, was she just, just a cow the whole time? Was she really just a cow the whole time? Once Zeus gave Hera the cow, Hera told her beloved protector, the 100-eyed giant, Argus, to keep watch over her so Zeus couldn't return to her. Argus tied Io to an olive tree and watched her day after day. And with so many eyes, he never really needed to close all of them at once, making him the perfect guard. Zeus, though, still very much in love with Io, decided that he needed to free her from Hera. So he sent his son, Hermes, to play a little bit of music to put Argus asleep. Into a deep enough sleep that all of his eyes were closed, and then he slayed the giant. In Hera's pissed off rage of the death of her beloved giant, she sent a gadfly to torment Io, who was still a cow. So Zeus wanted to free her from Hera, but didn't transform her back into a human? Like, come on, Zeus, bro. Io wandered all over Greek and the Mediterranean region trying to get away from the fly before eventually arriving in Egypt. And this is where she becomes connected to the Egyptian mythology, because it is said, where she found her way to Egypt, she was in the banks of the Nile and was finally at peace. And the Greeks believed that her descendants ruled there for generations and became Iris, who had already been established as the goddess of that region. So she just had to live her days out as a cow, I guess, just... Zeus couldn't, I don't know, if he really, really loved her, how about help her? But I mean, eventually I guess she was happy. Next is Europa. She's a young woman from Phoenicia, an ancient civilization in the Mediterranean coast and in Middle East, where modern-day Lebanon is. They were trading partners with the ancient Greece and eventually had colonized cities across the Middle East and northern Africa. She was the princess of a city named Trey, the daughter of the king and queen, and the sisters to the Phoenix and Cadmus. One morning, Europa woke from a dream. In this dream, she had seen 2 continents shaped like women, one near, one farther away, but both were fighting for possession of her. One's name was Asia. Asia told Europa that she was her mother, and that is where she belonged. And the other one, who Europa didn't know the name of, came up to her violently. The woman tried to drag her away, telling her the king of the gods himself, Zeus, decided that she had to be possessed by the unnamed continent. And when she awoke, she thought nothing of it. She just thought it was a dream. So she went on about her day like she would any other day. She decided that she was going to go to the seashore with her friends to pick some flowers. While they were at the seashore, they saw this very, very white cow just appear. And her friends were scared and backed away from the bull, but Europa found herself intrigued. So she began to get closer to the bull, and eventually she climbed up on the bull's back, and it let her climb on. It didn't move at all. So she wasn't worried, but as soon as she got on that bull, it took off full speed and jumped into the sea before any of her friends could do anything about it. Europa was heading into the sea. She was getting farther and farther away from them. Before long, the bull, with the rope still on its back, arrived at an island. It waded itself to shore, and Europa got off. She's like, fuck this, I'm out. Gets off, all shooken up, and tried to collect herself. She turned around, and the bull was gone. Or was it really? It wasn't a bull anymore. The bull had transformed into the god himself, Zeus. Zeus told her that the island now belongs to her, and here she would give birth to a son who would be the king of this island in the first of a destiny of kings. And this island's name was Crete. And the kingdom was founded in the city they called Gnosis. I'm going to do my other eye, and I will be right back. So, and before Zeus left Europa on this new island named Crete, he assaulted her, as he does, and impregnated her. She had a child named Minos, the first king of Crete, and the magical founder of the Minoan civilizations. Europa and her son, because they're the only two on the island, had children. And so on and so forth. Even though Europa was far away from home, she found some level of happiness with her children on Crete. This was the continent in her dreams that had tried to drag her away with Zeus's blessing. Europe is said to have been named for Europa. It was the continent in her dreams that tried to grab her and take her with Zeus's blessing. This story isn't particularly nice for how Europe got its name, but it is the first of many, many dramatic stories of the island of Crete and the bulls. I wanted to do like a little makeup look today. Nothing too crazy. Something simple. The first time I did this eyeliner, I thought it, like, when I saw someone wearing it, I was like, oh, that must have been very difficult. And then I watched a video on how to do it, and I was like, oh, that's real easy. So I will post a video on how to do a look like that, do this look, a separate video. So if you want to see it, it will also be uploaded to the channel. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you already aren't. Don't forget to hit that like button down below. Comment any of, your guys' thoughts, suggestions, or anything like that. But I hope everybody has a wonderful New Year's next week, and you guys have a great rest of your day. And I will be back next Saturday with another video. Bye, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching.